Good evening and welcome to Michigan International Speedway and the 5th round of our 1978 USAC Championship. And with me in the booth tonight for our pre-race chat I have Jason White. Good evening, Jason.
Good evening, Jonathan, and welcome to everybody on the YouTube channel watching. This is the 5th round of the 1978 USAC City Corp Cup National Championship. Going to be a high-speed race, but we've had yet another adjustment that we've made to the mod in an effort to not only be authentic, but to give the best racing possible. So the drivers over the past couple of weeks have had to basically recalibrate their approach a bit, but I think we're in for a really good race tonight.
And talking of a good race, I saw one of the McLarens go flying in the background as you were talking there. Talking about the track, actually, if I can just bring back up my little graphics here, we have, as I mentioned, the Michigan International Speedway, a 2.0 mile D-shaped oval, akin to the likes of one of the Texas tracks, I believe. I believe there's been two over the last 25-30 years, so I'm not entirely sure exactly how they compare, but I seem to remember one of them being very similar. And we'll be going... Sorry, go ahead.
No, they're essentially the same in terms of layout and distance. The difference with Texas is that the banking is steeper. The banking here at Michigan is slightly less. So the speeds here are not going to be as high as they were at Texas.
Ah, okay. And we'll be going for 100 laps, which could very well go by very, very quickly here, despite the slightly lower banking compared to Texas, where we were a couple of events ago.
Yeah, this could be a very, very quick event. I wouldn't be at all surprised if this race were to go the full distance without a yellow, for a couple of reasons. One, the change in the mod that has happened over the past couple of weeks lessens the slipstream and the aero effects behind the car. Essentially, what this is doing is kind of taking some of the dive bombing potential out of the mod, which was becoming a big problem for a lot of people. That's not the only reason that this was done, but that's one of them. And the other thing is that the cars are a bit more stable in a slipstream now than they were previously. So with that context, I don't know. I would not be at all surprised if we go full green the entire race, but we'll see.
It'll certainly be a very interesting prospect to go towards. And talking about prospects, the championship, as it stands right now, closed up quite considerably after the event 2 weeks ago, with David Yates still holding on to the lead on 968 points. But now only roughly 160 points ahead of Alberto Jr., who sneaks up into second position in the championship. Mikey Grems, with a spectacular drive last time out, is now on 700 points and third in the championship. Cesar Shlapinski lines up fourth in the championship on 640 points, and you yourself, Jason, up into fifth on 616 points.
Yep, nice to be in the top 5 in some rarefied company here. Rarefied air.
It's certainly good to see the championship being as close as it is, with 300 points only covering the top 5 in the championship at the moment. And if I'm not mistaken, that's almost as much as the drivers will be able to score here. Actually, less than the drivers will be able to score. Less than the drivers will be able to score here with a win, as the winner will be able to bring home with them after this event 400 points, which say that the guys in front of you doesn't score any points. You could suddenly be in the lead of the championship if you win, which must be a very exciting opportunity to have that kind of situation in the championship overall.
Well, you got to remember, we haven't gotten to any of the 500 milers yet, and those pay massive amounts of points. The winner of a 500-mile race will get 1,000 points. So that'll change those races will have a huge effect on the championship picture. So we're really seeing only one facet of it so far.
Well, that's certainly very true, but it's still one of those very fun things to see that it can be this close up towards. I believe we have Mossport in 2 weeks' time, and then after that we have the month of May and the Indy 500, the first of our 500-mile races.
Yeah, it's amazing how it's not that far away. I can remember, it seems like we just came out of the holidays, at least, and now suddenly we're getting that close to May. So yeah, it's exciting, for sure.
Very much so. And as we have you with us here, let's go for 2 bits more. We have a couple of reminders and one new thing for this event. We have the 200-mile race fuel limit, just to remind you watching of that the drivers have 3 allotted full tanks of fuel for the race, which equals about 453 liters or roughly 120 gallons. And again, any driver violating this limit will be disqualified post-race. We also have in the hands of Alberto Ibanez this evening the Eagle 78 chassis, which was the first all-new design from Dan Gurney's All-American Races team since the Eagle 72. So a full, would that be more or less 6 years later?
Yeah, all the Eagles that occurred that were fielded and built past 72 were basically variations on that design. So this is the first all new from the ground up chassis. But as it says there, Bobby Unser drove some good races, but it just didn't have the speed. Although I have to say, Alberto's looking pretty good this evening. He's managed to wring some speed out of it.
Yeah, I noticed he was sitting up there in the top 5, I think, last time I checked the standings.
It's gonna be faster than a Lightning, that's for sure. Because that's the car that Alberto's been driving up to this point, is a Lightning. So from here on out, he's driving an Eagle 78, the only one in the field driving an Eagle 78. So.
Which I think he will be quite exhilarated with.
Well, it cuts 2 ways. One it's that he has a better equipment than he had before, but the other side of it is he's the only one out there. So if he has an issue with the setup, he can't turn around and take any points off of somebody else's sets or get some help, because it's basically he has nothing to compare himself to. It's kind of we're kind of in the same boat with the Penske's. They behave kind of the way they're going to behave.
For sure.
So that's why Hackman and I work so closely together, offline and online, because we have nobody else to compare our sets to. But then again, Alberto's a sharp guy. I'm sure he'll figure out the car quickly. Looks like he already has.
Yeah, he's certainly a handy spanner worker as such, to work out what the car needs and how he wants it to behave. To finally round off, before I believe you will be heading off to do a few qualifying runs.
Roger's waving me over to the car. I gotta go in a minute here. So.
Yep. So just a quick your keys to the race here before you head off then, which will be: take special note of the track temperature at race time, presumably because of the lesser banking but still quite high speeds. The tire temperatures will have a big impact on what kind of handling and speed you can get out of the car.
It may for some people, and others it may not. Earlier on, when I was practicing, I had a set where I discovered that I had a problem where the track temperature was very definitely affecting how much grip I was getting. Then I made a change to the chassis, since I wrote these, and I'm having a lot more of a stable time. But certain people might find that the track temperature is more affecting their car than others. So something to think about, for sure.
Mm-hmm. And then maximum speed is obviously important, but so is the drivability in the corners, which I think when I heard you guys talking about it, is where you may set up the car to have good drive off the corners, but then obviously you may suffer understeer on the entry and apex of the corner and struggle even more because you can't get a good exit either.
Yeah, it does no good to outdrag someone down the straight, only to then just push right up the track once you get there, because you've just given away all the advantage you gained. So it's yeah, you can't do that. It's you have to get good speed, but you also have to have the car planted well in the turns. That's both when you're by yourself and when you're in traffic.
Certainly, and I think traffic racing will be quite prominent here. And of course, with how, shall we say, self-destructible the engines can be if you don't treat them right. Treating them right would probably be using a fourth gear that prevents you from redlining in the draft, and preferably keep the engine oil temperature under 120 degrees Celsius, which is roughly 248 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yeah, and again, this goes back to what I was saying earlier about the problem of the race might go without a yellow the whole way through. If that happens, engine temperature and fuel economy also, by extension, are going to be very serious concerns. It's definitely going to play into the strategy. All right, I've got to go get ready for qualifying, but thanks again for broadcasting. I hope we put on a good show, and see you soon, okay?
Thank you very much, Jason. Best of luck, and I hope you enjoy yourself tonight.
All right, take care.
You too.
User disconnected from your
So that's
channel.
Jason White heading off to do his qualifying run. As I noticed on the server, it's just changed over to qualifying. Nice to see you guys here with Berlin, KO and Anders. This should hopefully be a very good race with some good pack racing and hopefully some good clean fighting all through the field. But for now, let's actually see if we can't get onto the track and on board with someone to have a look at what the track will be like for our drivers. If we have anyone heading out at the moment. Time is not just yet green. So let's, while we wait for green flag here, actually have a quick little look at what's coming up. We'll also obviously have another look at this after the race. But next weekend we have the Canadian Grand Prix Labatt du Canada, from Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, which will house the old quick chicane on the back straight, so that should be some pretty interesting action there, with brakes and fuel being something that our drivers will have to think about. And then 2 weeks from now we have the Molson Diamond Indy from Mossport, which I am definitely looking forward to. That's going to be really, really interesting to see these USAC cars flying around the roller coaster ride that is Mossport. And I believe 3 weeks from now we have the Detroit Grand Prix from the downtown Detroit circuit, the street circuit that housed, I believe, 2 US Grand Prix in the 80s. And after that, as we mentioned, we have the month of May in the Indy 500 trials. Now on the track we have Mikey Grems just heading on over the finish line, so curved front stretch here, down into 1, gliding up just a little bit through 2 and get a good exit here, try to get some good speed down this back straight, and then turn in just by those hedges on the outside, or 3 maybe that would be, into 3, and then through 4, where we can see from the time marks a lot of drivers have been struggling with their cars. I've seen quite a few drivers having spins and offs into the barriers there over the course of this evening and afternoon's practice. And on the timing screens, as Grems finishes his second and final flying lap, looks like the Penskes are right up there with Hackman in first and Jason White finishing his second lap and jumping up into second. Looks like Alberto Senior is currently third. Let's see if we have anyone else about to set a lap. We have Cesare Schlapinski in the Coyote soon to start his first flying lap. And let's see what he's able to do. Right out to the wall on the entry. And that car is looking quite loose actually. Possibly due to cold tires though, but we'll have to see, as he was 2.5 tenths down in the first sector and now 3 tenths down in the second, so that's still a 4th place on the grid at the moment and only needs to improve about half a tenth to get up into second on the grid. So let's see what he can do. A tenth up on himself there, but runs up a little bit high on the exit of 2. That could very well turn out to have scrubbed off a little bit of speed. It's interesting to see that Schlapinski really taking very, very wide entries, but as we can see there, he was a tenth up, but lost the time on the exit. And again, right out to the wall. And unfortunately for him, no improvement. So, looks like we have Brian Yannick. Let's see, August Watering about to finish his second flying lap. And then we had Brian Yannick in the Finley Eagle. Looking to start his flying lap very shortly. August Watering straight up into 7th here. That was a very nice lap, and he's up again, so let's actually stay with August here and see what he can do as he comes down the back straight and into 3. Ooh, possibly a little bit too high there, but still up. And improves into 5th. Very impressive indeed. Let's see if and where we have Did I miss Brian there? No, doesn't look like he's still on the server. Okay, so that's unfortunate for him. So Mike Olsen, final time setter with David Saber not setting a lap time. By the looks of things, and I believe that was a pole for Adam Hackman once again, so the Penske racing cars right up there once again in qualifying. And let's see, here we have Alberto Ibanez's Eagle 78, the all-new chassis for him, after having run, as Jason said, lightnings in the opening 4 rounds, and at least in this qualifying session, Alberto put in a good effort, and it'll be interesting to see what he can make out of this new and probably improved chassis. Let's see, we have our cars heading out on track here, so let's see if we can get a few nice shots from around the track as we get some pack racing going here in the warm-up session. And here we have Alan Santo, I believe his first race as a full-time driver, picking up the Alex Morales Racing number 78. Alan put on has put in a couple of good races, but mechanical issues by the engine and car has forced him to retire in those races. But I know for a fact that he is looking for a finish here tonight, and if the practice he's been putting in is anything to go by, he is looking very good for a finish here. And with how the track is, anything can happen. He could get a very good finishing position. See, I noticed we have had a couple of cars running together. Problem is finding them. Here we have Jason Fitch in a number 11 AMC powered machine. Again, as I've said before, by far my favorite sounding engine in the mod. If maybe not one of the quickest. And we also have Ruben Fernandez racing in the number 43. I believe his first foray into these USAC cars, so I hope he'll be able to have a good race going for himself in the Sherman Armstrong car. Oh, we can see the F3 wide, although one of the cars in the background I think was heading out to the pit lane. We can see the Alberto Ibanez really high in the 3 and 4, and there goes David Yates right up underneath his rear wing and improved by 33 hundredths of a second, nearly 34 hundredths of a second. Let's jump on board with Mike Grems here as he follows Schlopinski and Greg Delacella, as Greg makes room for the 2 drivers behind him. And it looks like Grems is looking for a bit of clean air. With Alberto Ibanez heading on to the front straight. Ooh, and Yates really sideways on the tighter line, inside line. And loses out a lot there. But interesting to see, quickest so far in this warm-up session is August Waltering. Really getting his Dayton Walter racing car up to some pretty decent speed. Let's see, we have 3 minutes left, and here we have Angel May in the Mongoose. And unfortunately for her, that is probably not the car to have around this particular speedway, where drag is a very hindering function in the car, and unfortunately the Mongoose is quite draggy, especially compared to many of the other chassis we'll be seeing here tonight. But again, consistent driving will pay dividends, and here we have Simon Wattman as well, back for another one-off drive in one of the McLarens, the number 88 Machinist Union car. Now we have Mike Olsen as well, racing tonight in the number 79, vacated by Petr Hlavac for this event, and Mike was willing to pick up that McLaren and give it a go. Now we have Martin Lasina struggling a little bit for pace in this. Ooh, dear me, as that pit entry could have been a little bit smoother, I suppose. I think he finished third last time out, so I think Martin will be hoping for a little bit more pace as the race continues. There goes Raul Jereb as well, up quite high, and Brian Yannick really making that Finley Eagle fly here with 15th at the moment. And there's Dana Schurer, turned up a little bit later than many other drivers, but clearly has that McLaren quite well sorted out, sitting in 9th in this warm-up session, as we have about 30 seconds left of aforementioned session. Looks like both McLarens actually is going quite well at the moment, with Sabre up into 5th. And late in the session, Yates and Schlapinski up into the top 3 times. But in terms of who I would suggest as a winner here, I have absolutely no idea. Feels like anyone can win this one. That's very unfortunate for Angel May. Dave mentions in the broadcast chat here that they've got the car trimmed out as much as possible, and they still can't or can barely hit the fuel target on minimum boost. So, as I mentioned, definitely not the car to quite have around this track here. Well, let's see. Race session just about to get going, so Adam Hackman will be lining up on the pole position in a full-on Penske front row. As we're just waiting for everyone to make their way onto the grid. Where the pace car will take them around. So Adam Hackman will line up on pole position with his teammate Jason White alongside him. Third will be Alberto Ibanez in the now Eagle All-American Races car. Cesare Slapinski lines up fourth, with August Watering up in fifth, with Juha Bors in sixth, and I know he was quite happy with the handling of his car. Ruben Fernandez with a great effort in seventh after qualifying, with David Yates in eighth. Mikey Grems lines up ninth, with Alberto Jr. rounding out the top 10. Brian Yannick lines up 11th for Finley Vattis Enterprises, with Ray Riddall in 12th. Dana Schurer 13th, with Jacob Ferguson 14th. Bruno Chacon 15th, with Raul Jereb 16th. Jason Fitch 17th, with Martin Lancina 18th. Jason Whiten 19th, with Jules Bouchard in 20th. Greg Della Cella 21st, with Alan Santo 22nd, Luciano Roja 23rd, Simon Wattman 24th, Angel May 25th, Mike Olsen 26th, and rounding out the grid in 27th is David Saber, as the safety car just now heads into the pit lane, so green flag is just about to come out. And there it goes, and we are underway. Oh, and a quite bunched up start. Looks like Hackman will lose out once again. Looks like Slapinski will romp off into the lead, with Alberto Senior in second, with Juha Bors with a great start up into third. With Hackman holding on to fourth ahead of Watering and his teammate Jason White. So first lap done, and Slapinski holds the lead. And now Watering challenging Hackman for fourth, and it looks like Watering will be able to take that position away. And it does so, and there goes David Yates as well up the inside line, with a great turn of speed. With Mikey Grems still in 8th, Yannick up into 9th, and Jakob Fredriksson up into 10th. Dana Schurer has dropped a couple of positions off the start, as has Ruben Fernandez there. David Saber, I believe, is more or less where he started. Bruno Chacon is up a couple of positions, I think. Ray Riddle down, so a little bit of a mix-up overall. Alberto Quino is also a few positions down on his starting position. But it's nice to see that it looks like everyone is still running after the opening 2, soon to be 3 laps has been completed. As Slapinski still holds a slim lead ahead of Alberto Equino, as David Yates sets the fastest lap of the race, and let's see if him and Watering can work together to get themselves up nearer the front 3 in this race. And looks like Jason White will want something to do with that as well, trying to hook onto the slipstream. Let's actually jump on board with him for just a couple of moments here, maybe a lap or so, and see what he is seeing. paving the X again with the fastest lap of the race. He is definitely flying in his Pat Patrick Racing car. And you have Bosses actually slipped past Alberto Ibanez in that lap and up into second. It looks like Alberto Senior won't quite be wanting to take that laying down. So it looks like all three of them will want to try and hook on to Schlapinski's rear wing here. Further back, Watering and White is still running together, with Saber now up into 7th, Hackman down into 8th, Mikey Grams 9th, and Ruben Fernandez up to 10th. But Yannick not far behind, neither is Fredriksson, Schurer or Riddle. Looks like there's a big gaggle of cars, big line of cars here from what I think would be about Gramsci 9th to Equino here in 16th. As now you have Bosses the fastest lap of the race, and he looks like he's looking to challenge Schlapinski right now for the lead. Oh, it looks like he got a great exit out of turn 2. Let's see if he can make anything of it. Still up the inside, so he should have the position right here. And he does, and let's jump on board with him and look back at Schlapinski's Coyote. And the Eagle of Alberto Ibanez. Oh, side by side on the exit of 4. So Schlapinski with a bad exit or a bad run through 3 and 4, I suppose. When Ibanez really running that high line strong, and up into second he goes. Really nice move. Side by side on the exit. Back here is White and Saber. Penske versus Works McLaren, and McLaren, ooh, entered the corner, the turn a little bit too hot there into 1 and almost slid up into White's Penske, but contact was avoided, and White holds on to 6th position for now. And Fernandez so far running really strong in that number 43 machine. Which is very nice to see. Grams holding on to a top 10 finish by the what looks to be the skin of his teeth. Sure, under attack in behind here. I noticed she was high in 3 and 4. As Ray Riddle streaks past Brian Yannick down the front straight. When again, sure, really high. Oh no, that's a spin! Oh, that's very, very unfortunate. Hopefully she'll be able to hold the car up towards the wall. And that's a very quick exit, unfortunately, for Dana Schurer. That's really, really unfortunate. That's one of those things that can happen around this track when you try and or are forced to run the high liners. David Saber up into second. When did that happen? Oh, hold on. Has Saber retired as well? No, he hasn't. He's... Oh, it's because I was on a replay. My sincerest apologies. Live once again, and David Saber has streaked up into the lead. Oh, Slapinski and Yakes are out! Oh, looks like Jason White is in trouble as well. Oh, whatever happened here? Deary me, deary me. This looks to possibly have been a massive accident. Let's see if we can have any luck in catching what happened. Because Bors is slow on the outside, Slapinski into the lead. Yakes way behind, and suddenly nothing.
Hey, wake up.
Oh, I have no idea what happened there. I think I got a message, so let's go back to live here and I'll have a little look and see. Oh, that's very unfortunate. Information from one of the admins. Looks like there's some disconnection issues. I wonder if the race will run to the full distance if we have too many more of those. But for now, we'll just have to wait and see. Because Saber is up into the lead now with Johan Bors in second. And traffic for our leaders as well, with Alberto Ibanez now in third, Hackman in fourth, Jakob Fröksen in fifth, with Ray Riddall in sixth, and Alberto Quino in eighth now as Grems goes up his inside. Looks like Brian Yannick will want to follow through, and he does up into eighth. So Quino up into ninth. Raul Jereb now in 10th, with Whited in 11th, Alan Santo in 12th. Mike Olsen in 13th, Angel May 14th, Jules Bouchard 15th, Simon Wattman 16th, with Greg Della Cella 17th, and unfortunately Jason White, the first of our possible retirees, but since he's still showing as sort of on track, I'd suspect he's still trying to run around the track and see what happens. With Slapinski, definitely a retiree, along with Yakes, Watering, Fernandez, Chacon. Looks like Fitch unfortunately also has dropped. Martin Lacina and Dana Schurer and Luciano Rocha early retirees as well. So that unfortunately robbed us of some potentially great battles. But we'll have to wait and see, because Bors is still under attack by Ibanez, although that could just be a case of Senior following along in the wheel tracks and saving fuel. Hatman currently running alone in fourth, with Fröksen in fifth, followed by Ray Riddall now, with Equino fighting Brems for 7th and 8th, and Brian Yannick in there as well. So let's jump on board with Brian Yannick here, running in 9th at the moment, and following the battle between Equino and Brems for 7th and 8th.
Hello, Jonathan.
As I'm now, unfortunately, I must say, joined by one of our retirees, Jason White. Was it a simple, well, quasi-simple disconnection, or what happened?
Yeah, there was clearly something that happened with the server, where a bunch of people got kicked out at once. We're going to actually take a very unusual step. We're going to start over. We're going to restart the race, put everybody back where they were to start with, and we're just going to, since we only ran 11 minutes, this is a decision that the admins have reached. So, yeah, so that's where we're at. So it's a good thing these 200 milers go by quickly. So,
yeah, I suppose that's the most fair way we can do it.
So I'm going to head back to the booth or the admin booth and talk about how we're going to do this. Okay.
Yep. Best of luck.
User left your channel.
Okay, so that's the update on what is going to happen here. So while we wait for everything to be sorted out, we'll take a quick commercial break, but we will be back right after these very important messages.
Cast iron where you need it, for strength and accuracy. Hardened gears and ball bearing construction, for long life and dependability. Heavy-duty motors, with power to spare. Rockwell builds tools that way for a reason. Because a power tool is only as good as the job it can do, and just how long it can do it. Rockwell, your work can't afford anything less.
I got a great deal on this great Toyota Corolla.
You asked for it, you got it, Toyota.
Thanks, guys.
That's right. Get more than your money's worth right now. We're clearing out every 1978 Toyota in stock, including our lowest price Toyotas. Each with a car full of standard features you don't have to pay extra for. What kind of a deal can you make? See your Toyota dealer and just ask.
I asked.
Just ask for it, you get it, Toyota.
Take any razor available in America. Now there's an electric shaver that will shave as close or your money back. The Remington XLR. Remington can guarantee a close shave because of our unique three-part system. The first head shaves close, the second closer. The exclusive intercept cutter is designed to shave longer hairs. The Remington XLR. It shaves as close as a blade or your money back. Available at your local Woolco store.
Think of the most professional-looking sound system you can imagine. Think of the ideal place to house it. You're thinking of one of JCPenney's remarkable new MCS series audio rack systems. Now, think of an incredible everyday saving of over $300 when you purchase any of these component systems as a package. JCPenney's MCS series audio rack systems. Think of the sound. Think of the service. Think of the savings. You won't have to think again.
You're never gonna believe the deal I made on this Toyota Corolla.
You asked for it, you got it, Toyota.
I got a great year-end deal on a tough Toyota truck.
You asked for it, you got it, Toyota.
It's the best time ever to buy a brand new 78 Toyota car or truck. You get your money's worth and more on every one. But act fast for better selection still at 78 prices.
Just ask for it, you get it, Toyota.
From the Sierras to the Smokies, people are discovering what makes the great outdoors great.
Beer makes it good.
There's just one Schlitz.
There's no debate.
Nothing else comes near.
Beer makes it good.
When you're out of Schlitz,
Schlitz makes it great.
You're out of beer.
11 million times a day, America reaches for a Schlitz. Every drop show-lagered for quality since 1849.
Schlitz makes it like no other could. Schlitz makes it great.
Okay, we are back live here, but still just waiting for the server to be restarted. That is currently underway. While we wait, let's have a look at the trivia questions so you have something to ponder during the quick sprint that will be this Norton Twin 200 event, as after restart, the race will go the full distance. So, which driver won the IndyCar portion of the Norton Twin 200 on July 16th, 1978? Was it A. Rick Mears, B. AJ Foyt, or was it C. Johnny Rutherford? I have to very clearly say that I got it wrong when I saw the question earlier today, but that is for another time and place, I suppose, when we give the answer after the race, or if we have a few prolonged yellows, we may take care of the answer then, but at least something for you to ponder for now. As for all our drivers waiting for this server to be back up, it is now available for relog. And obviously that's a very unfortunate situation overall, what happened there, but as an outsider just looking at it, it seems like the most appropriate course of action to go for the restart. And I've just got clarification to double check. We will be running the full distance, so positions as they were just before the disconnection, but the full distance as far as I can make out. But we've got another probably 5 minutes or so until the race will be back up and running. And seeing as that is the case and my voice is giving me just a little bit of strife, I will take a minute or two, just get a bit of something to drink, a glass of water, and we'll be back live in a minute to a couple of minutes. And we've now at least got a little bit of action out on track again, with Juha Boos trying to get back up to speed. Being one of the admins, he will have had to be one of those with doing some quick thinking to try and work out what to do, along with the other admins of ISO. Ooh, as he hits the outside barrier there, coming off of 2. Looks like he will be heading back into the pit lane in a very short while. As we can see, everyone now working their way out onto the track. Ooh, and Watering getting very sideways through 3 and 4 and then barely making the pit entry. Looks like people are still having to practice the pit entry on this Michigan International Speedway. As a positive on the timing sheets at the moment, looks like it's quite close. Jake's currently quickest, but there goes August and blasts the quickest times so far in this session completely out of the waters. And actually looks like Raul Jareb has quite a bit of speed in that car, although I don't think the car as a combination is good enough to be up there fighting for the win outright in this particular event. Let's jump on board with Luciano Roja here, who had a very impressive outing last time out. As he is just getting up to grips and looks like he's going to practice a pit entry here actually. Looks like our drivers will want to try and get down on the pit apron a little bit more squarely than what Luciano did just right there. As we now actually looks to have the race set to be going once again. Unfortunately, with only 24 cars remaining, but at least we'll almost get a full field of cars racing once again around this Michigan International Speedway. It actually looks like the restart here will be under the grid that was set after qualifying, so anyone who were unable to retake their spot for the race will mean a few drivers may have moved up a position or two on the grid, but we'll go back to the full Penske front row. As the safety car, driven by Bob Wilson, is just about to head into pit lane there and coming up to the start-finish line, and the green flag is out and we are back on the way once again. And looks like once again Hackman loses out as both Alberto Senior and Juha Boos jumps up into the front of the pack. Looks like Juha Boos immediately wants to have a bit of a look at taking the lead. But he isn't quite able to make that work. And has to drop back in behind once again as Ibanez leads the way after lap 1 of this restarted race. Boos in second, Hackman third, Yates now fourth or possibly fifth because Schlapinski is on the inside. Looks like Schlapinski will be fifth. August Watering in sixth with Jason White in seventh, so White lost out on this start instead. With Fredriksson down to ninth because Mikey Gremskop goes up into eighth. And Brian Yannick 10th, trying to challenge Fredriksson for ninth. With Ray Riddle 11th and Ruben Fernandez in 12th, Alberto Queen of 13th, with Saber 14th, Chacon 15th, Fitch 16th, Santo 17th, Raoul Ireb 18th, with Greg Dalacella 19th, Jules Bouchard in 20th, Mike Olsen 21st, Simon Wattman 22nd, Aniel May 23rd, and Luciano Roja currently rounds out the 24 runners. looked like in the background the battle was on for third right here between Hackman and Yakes. So Yakes once again with a good start. As I didn't quite catch who that quickest lap was for, but I can see back there quite the battle group with Ridol, Grems, Yannick, Saber, Fernandez, Fredriksson and Equino all involved. Let's actually take a moment here to just jump on board with Alberto Quino and see him and his view up the line of cars here. Where he actually dives down the inside of both Yannick and Grems on the entry to 1 and 2, but both the outside, all the three outside drivers able to get a better run through the corner, and Equino from 11th to 14th in one fell swoop. And that shows how difficult it can be to pass, and now Brun Chacon wants a bit of a piece of the action as well. And that battle pack is partly split up into two groups now, with the first group led by Ridol, followed by Saber, Watering and Fernandez. And then we have the second group consisting of Grems, Yannick, Fredriksson, Equino, Chacon, and I thought Jereb might have been there, but he is a little bit further behind. Ooh, as Ridol runs way high and loses a whole heap of speed. Oh no, there's contact! Fernandez and Ridol, a huge accident! Oh dearie me, that is a very, very nasty accident indeed. From what I could see, Ray Ridol ended up very, very wide and lost a lot of speed. Fernandez decided to try and go around outside and try to hold this line, but I don't know if Ray possibly came up the track or if it was just a very, very clear miscommunication. But let's jump on board with Ruben here and see what he saw and see if we can see what happened, because yeah, very, very, very slight miscommunication I think there, because Fernandez, as I said there, tried to go to the outside line, and unfortunately looked like Ridol had just the slightest bit of a twitch as he tried to apply throttle, or when the turbo kicked in, and unfortunately that twitched the car to the outside line, and unfortunately Fernandez ended up with nowhere to go. So it's very unfortunate, but all our drivers, apart from those two, still running, with the Boss now up into first. He has passed Ibanez in the last few laps. Stapinski in third, with Hackman now in fourth. White in fifth. Saber in sixth. Ooh, and a big loose moment for Saber as well. Yakes now in seventh, and Watering trying to catch up to them and hook onto the rear of the train in eighth. And as Jason White sets the fastest lap of the race, so whatever slow start he had, he's definitely gotten the steam back in the boiler and now working his way up towards the front of the field. And now Saber with the fastest lap as he slips up the inside of White through 1 and 2. And that clearly shows that running together in a pack and working together is definitely the quickest way around this track. Oh, and there Slapinski looked to make a move on what I think is Johan Bors now in front of him, but that almost caused a bit of an accident because Saber was already looking up the inside of the Polish Toyota driver. Let's jump on board with Ibanez here as he is looking back at the action unfolding in the battle for mainly 2nd, 3rd and 4th, and the battle for what is 5th and 6th. And Saber again sets the fastest lap of the race. So mid-tank, that McLaren is looking very, very quick indeed. Clearly that Eagle 78 chassis that Alberto now has in his disposal is nothing to scoff at as such. But it looked like Saber might have had a bit of a go into 3. And Ibanez very, very wide and has to check up to not hit the wall, and Saber now with an overlap on the inside line. And Saber takes the lead as Slapinski now sets the fastest lap of the race. And now traffic is coming up as well. Oh, and Bors very, very slow off of 4 for whatever reason, and that very nearly caused a very nasty incident. Let's see if we can see what happened. Presumably he got either very sideways or... Okay, so he ran wide and nearly hit the wall on the outside, and everyone else tried to scramble around him. Let's see, I noticed there were still some close action down here with Grems, Fredriksson, Yannick and Chacon. Now in a battle for 10th, 11th, 12th and 13th. And now Jason White with the quickest lap. So I think we'll see quickest laps being set up until we get to around lap 33 to 35. As that pack racing will probably continue up until the first pit stops, and then we'll see what kind of strategy the drivers will choose to deploy. That looked a little bit close there, perhaps, as two cars were taking the same part of the track. Looked like it sorted itself out, so currently all is well. As Sabre again, a little after halfway through a tank, is up into the lead, so wasn't only because of the disconnects in the first aborted race here tonight. He's actually very, very quick in that McLaren. As it looks like Shlapinski has slipped past Ibanez on the exit of 2 with a little bit of use of the traffic. Oh, and Ibanez, it looks like he's going to strike the wall on the outside. He does indeed. So I wonder how badly that will affect his handling in the next few laps, as he will most likely have to try and acclimatize himself to a slightly different handling car. As Yates also slips underneath the All-American Racers driver for the Patrick Racing team. Battle here between Grems, Ferguson, Chacon and Yannick is still going strong. Nice to see here. Looks like Vatman and Rocha is having a bit of a fight for 21st and 22nd at the moment, and Greg Dalacella, Bouchard and Angel May is currently having a battle for 18th, 19th and 20th, so pretty much all the way through the field there is one fight or another to have a bit of a look-see at. Ooh. I think that was the battle in behind. It was indeed. That looked quite scary for the drivers. Now Ibanez and then Jason White says the fastest lap up here. And Jason White looks to have done that on his own. That is very impressive, as did Ibanez by the looks of things. Wow. But it certainly looks like David Sabre, for the time being at least, for the Team McLaren team, has more or less checked out and taken off, as it were, enjoying a nigh on 2-second lead after nearly a third of the race has been run. Oh, and as some of the faster cars goes by, there's a battle for 15th and 16th between Fitch and Santos, which is nice to follow as well, with the AMC and Alex Morales Racing, which I think is either an SGD or a Offenhauser engine. So it should be, in terms of powertrains anyway, a fairly even fight. I'm not quite sure which of the... What I think is an Eagle for the AMC and what is most likely a Lightning or Wildcat for Santo. Oh, and into the pit lane on lap 32, end of lap 32 on to lap 33. Yates and Ibanez at the same time, and more cars coming into the pit lane as well. As there went Grems back out. Looks like Yates is getting going. What about Ibanez? Yates is quicker in the pits. Oh, looks like a quite slow stop for Ibanez. Only now getting going, and Wattman streams past as well. Ibanez very, very careful coming off the pit lane. Santo in now, and Fitch comes down. Now Slapinski in from the lead. Jason White from second, Bors from third, and Hackman from fourth. With Watering as well. See, there comes Ibanez, so let's see how many positions he takes, as we have a yellow out as well, just after the first pit stop has been completed. So let's see if we can possibly find out where and when that happened. Looks like it may have been Wattman with a blown engine, unfortunately. Oh no, not coming off of pit lane, surely. See, trying to stay low. Oh, and looks, it sounds like just before he's about to change up into fourth, the engine went very, very harshly on him, and unfortunately USAC man and the USAC organization deciding that the yellow flag was the right course of action. As unfortunately a stop-go penalty for Equino. I wonder if he stopped in a closed pit. As it looks like everyone is waiting for either safety cars or to be given the clear as to where they should be going. It looks like Slapinski will have the lead after this yellow period. We can see there Fitch having to almost stop on the track to wait to be able to take his position in line. So it looks like Slapinski will have the lead with Saber in second, Yates in third, Ibanez in fourth, Hackman fifth, Bors in sixth, White seventh, Equino eighth, Fredriksson ninth, and Watering rounding out the top 10. Brian Yannick in 11th with Mikey Grems 12th and unfortunately caught behind the safety car, so in just a tiny bit of trouble right here. Jereb in 13th, Santo 14th, Roja 15th, May in 16th, Chacon 17th, Fitch 18th, Bouchard 19th, De La Cella into the pits from 20th, and Olsen in 21st, and I'm not sure if he'll be able to unlap himself from De La Cella. And let's see now, yellow flag is being retracted and green flag coming out. And green flag is out and we are back racing once again. Oh, what now? Drive-through penalty. A stop and go penalty for David Yates. And Strapinski now in 9th. Whatever happened here? Bors now in 1st, Hackman in 2nd, Fregson 3rd, Yannick 4th, Watering 5th, White in 6th, Queen of 7th, David Saber 8th, Strapinski 9th, Yates now in 10th with Ibanez 11th, Jereb 12th, Santo 13th, Roja 14th, Chacon 15th, May 16th, Grems, being checked up, heading into the pit lane, everyone heading for the pits. And Grems unfortunately missing the pit lane area, but at least avoided the big Armco barrier. De La Cella 17th now, Grems 18th with that, Fitch 19th, Bouchard 20th and Olsen 21st. So all the cars receiving a stop-go penalty for what I can only be assumed to be out of position on the restart situation there. But I would suggest if any of those drivers are listening, and the way such situations has been sorted before, drive hell for leather anyway and try to keep on, because you may be given the lap back after the race by the stewards and not by USAC man, and you can at least regain a few of the positions you may have lost right now. Although obviously it'll be slightly heartbreaking right now, with May now up into 13th, with Roja in 12th and Santo in 11th, and Chacon up into the top 10. I think he'll be quite happy with that as Fitch heads into the pit lane. And Brian Yannick in the Finley Vatis Enterprises Eagle up into 3rd at the moment. That is an absolutely incredible development for the Detroitian. And I think that was Grems heading for the pit lane. And Yannick now up into 2nd, so Fregson now 1st, Yannick 2nd, Watering 3rd, Hackman 4th. You have Borstad was heading into the pit lane from 5th, or from 1st at that point, I suppose. So that's a case of possibly everyone stopping before the yellow, gaining a huge advantage over those having to stop after. Because Fregson now up into the lead from running just inside or just outside the top 10. Again, Fregson, while maybe not having the fastest car, his strategy on these ovals are usually right up there with the best of them, and clearly either a bit of good luck and certainly what is very likely to be some good strategy as well, gaining right here and now under this particular yellow flag situation. I do think Ferguson and Watering, by the looks of things, are those certainly best placed to take advantage of this particular situation, although you can never really count out Brian Yannick, but that Eagle I don't think will quite be able to stand up to the other two makes of chassis in this top 3 at the moment. And you have Bose back out of the pits. In the third of the Penske's, the PC5 in 4th, so White in 5th, Hackman 6th, Equino 7th, Chacon now in 8th with Yareb in 9th, Santo up into the top 10, I think he'll be quite happy with that. Angel May in 11th with Luciano Roja 12th, so that's a change of 4 position in the last couple of laps. Shlapinski in 13th, Saber in 14th, Yakes in 15th, Ibanez 16th, De La Chella 17th, Mikey Grems in 18th, Michaels in 19th, Jules Bouchard 20th, Jason Fitch 21st, and last of our runners unfortunately with Wattman, Riddle and Fernandez, our retirees from this restarted Norton Twin 200 event. And now Watering up into second position. And let's see if he can possibly hunt after Ferguson up there in the lead. Let's see here, I just have to take a moment to resituate myself here with some voice helping, I suppose you would call them like pills or whatever, but anyway, back to the action. Watering now within a second of Fredriksson, so the fight for the lead is on. Meanwhile, the rest of the, at least those on the lead lap, looks to be fairly spread out, unfortunately for us. And also those a lap or more down as Sabre is up into 11th. Some Angel May unfortunately drops to 12th and possibly 13th right here. Clearly that Mongoose not quite up to snuff, but she's doing a very good job, I must say, as is everyone else still in this race. This track is not easy to drive. Rocha in 15th, Ibanez still in 16th, De La Chella 17th, Grems 18th, also 19th, Bourgeois 20th, Fitch 21st. And now let's actually jump on board with Fredriksson here and look back at the light blue and white car behind, which is August Watering hunting him down. Looks like Fredriksson, or at least his team there in the Pat Patrick pit box, is calling him for a pit stop here. And that is now gone, so the racing is still on here between Fredriksson and Watering. And not too far behind still is Brian Yannick, so if anything happens between these two, Yannick is in the prime seat to see it and take advantage. And Watering is getting ever closer to the rear wing of the Pat Patrick Racing Team car. When here goes, he can have the slipstream. He's looking up the inside, going into one. Side by side into turn one. Ooh, and Watering almost, he has an overlap. Fredriksson hangs back, and let's see if he can get a run back on him down the back straight. Looks like that is far away from happening. Watering got an absolutely tremendous run onto the back straight off of turn 2 that previous lap. And looks like the traffic has aided Watering further as Fredriksson drops to 8/10 behind the Indiana man now. Yannick still in 3rd, with Juha Boos now in 4th, Hackman 5th and White in 6th. Equino just about a lap down in 7th. with Bruno Chacon still holding on to 8th, ahead of Jareb in 9th. Saber now up into the top 10, just ahead of Schlapinski in 11th. Yakes up into 12th, with Santo in 13th, Ibanez up into 14th, Angel May now 15th, Roja 16th, Della Cella 17th, Grems 18th, Olson 19th, Fitch 20th, Bouchard 21st, and Wattman, Ridol and Fernandez still our only retirees from this restarted event. But it does look like for now that Watering is able to just a little by little be able to extend his lead over Ferguson in the battle for the lead of this race. So let's go back and have a little bit of a look at this battle for the final top 10 position between Saber and Schlapinski. So Team McLaren versus the Gilmore Racing Team running the Toyota chassis. And Schlapinski now up the inside on the inside line, and with well of an overlap and fastest lap of the race, as I believe they are closing in on the end of their middle fuel stint. I'd guess they can probably make it to... Oh no! Schlapinski with a massive off! Deary me, that looked very, very bad indeed. Let's see if we can possibly catch what happened. As Schlapinski turns in, he hits the wall before turning in, and that's why he went upside down once he hit the barriers with some immense speed. And it looks like, unfortunately, Schlapinski, understandably so, with such a big accident, is forced to retire. As we can see there in the pit lane, actually, I believe that is Mike Olson in for his, what I hope to be anyway, final pit stop. And White now up into 6th, so he's ahead of his teammate. So his teammate Hackman has pitted, I would assume anyway. Unless I missed him on the way through, I did. So there's Hackman, there is White in the 2 Penske's. Equino still in 7th. With Saber in 8th, Chacon in 9th, and Jareb now rounding out the top 10. And now Yannick into the pit lane from his preliminary 3rd position for his final stop. That's an interesting take on how he wants to go about this final stint. Now Fredriksson and Watering in at the same time. Let's see what happens here. Yakes out. And let's see who of the two fighting for the lead preliminary heads out first. Fredriksson has got going. What about Watering? Oh, he's stationing far longer. Fredriksson out in the lead. Well and clearly ahead of Watering. I wonder if Watering is repairing some damage possibly. Because that is looking like a very, very costly stop. Because he is losing positions hand over fist, and now you have Bors into the pit lane for his final stop. So let's see if he loses his lead back to Fredriksson. He will indeed, because here comes Fredriksson, and Fitch with a bit of a tight exit there, but is able to get going. So Yannick with Equino right behind him, but I think Equino owes us another pit stop. So this could very easily be Fredriksson fighting Yannick for the win in this race. Pat Patrick versus Finley Vattis Enterprises, and I think out of the two, that Finley Eagle will be the car and chassis and team combination that is most surprised to be way up there, fighting so far up the field. There we go, my apologies. Let's jump on board with Brian Yannick here and follow him along for a lap or two and see what he's doing, as we saw Alberto Quino heading into the pit lane just a moment ago. It looks like Hackman will take third place and Bors fourth, so that could be an interesting fight to watch as well, but for now let's follow this one. Next time by we will be 3/4 through this race. Ooh, and a bit of a loose moment there turning in for Brian Yannick, but he gained a little bit of time through turn 3 and 4 either way. We can clearly see that he is a little bit quicker in the turns, but Fredriksson has a higher top-end velocity by the looks of things, so that's where the Finley Eagle is a little bit lackluster, unfortunately. You see Adam Hackman here in third at the moment for Penske. We have both a few cars back in fourth, and he is in white, 15 seconds trailing the Privatier Russ Polak team driver. Queen are currently 6th with Watering down in 7th, so must have been a damage repair for August, unfortunately. So from fighting for the lead to a slim chance at, well, slim, but a fight for 6th position at what seems to be at best at the moment. Alberto Senior currently 8th with Yates in 9th. Jereb in 10th with Chacon currently 11th. Saber in 12th, Santo 13th, Luciano Roja 14th, Grems 15th, Angel May 16th, Mike Olsen in 17th with Fitch 18th, Bouchard 19th. And what I think is the final run we have now with Greg Dalachella in 20th, with our retirees now being Shlapinski, Watman, Riddle and Fernandez. And it looks like as soon as Fredriksson was able to get clear of the draft that he was giving in the slipstream he was giving to Yannick, Yannick ain't quite able to keep up with his much older machine. So by the looks of things, unless there's some mechanical maladies or some misfortune or a mistake befalls Fredriksson, he is looking good for a potential first place finish here at the Norton Twin 200. But obviously in a very good position to take advantage of anything do go wrong for the current leader. Brian Yannick lies in 2nd. With Adam Hackman 3rd, you have Bowles about 5 seconds behind in 4th. Jason White in 5th, Equino still in 6th with Watering in 7th and actually closing in. So let's follow this battle for just a little bit here and see how this little bit of an action pair develops. Looked like Watering was just about to get a run there, but had to check up just a little bit towards the very exit due to the double car dirty air that he was experiencing. And again, Watering looking to have a very good run through 3 and 4, this time a little bit closer by the looks of things. But not quite close enough to go for a move. Ooh, and Hackman with the fastest lap. And for that little bit of in-joking that I noticed Cesarius and Berlin was having, the Johabos car is entered by Russ Polak. if I'm not very much mistaken, so that's why I worded it that way at the time. Let's see, White in 5th, so Hackman still holding on to 3rd, so a little bit of a, still a good overall event at the moment, if things stay as they are at the moment for the Penske organization, with the 2 Penske entered cars in 3rd and 5th, and a privately entered Penske driven by Juha Boos in 4th. Wow, and Adam Hackman with another quickest lap. He is certainly turning up the wicket here, as Jareb is in 10th, Chacon 11th, Saber 12th, Santo 13th, Rocha 14th, Grems 15th, May 16th, Olsen 17th. I expected someone to have changed positions somewhere, because that looked off to how it was before. Fitch 18th, Buchard 19th, Alashella 20th. Wow, that's why Hackman is driving the wheels off his Penske. He's now within 10 seconds of 2nd place. Question is it actually possible for him to gain around the 2nd lap? I certainly think Ferguson is out of reach, but 2nd place could possibly be within reach, because he's now, as he goes through 3 and 4, was below 9 seconds, and about 9 seconds as he crossed the start-finish line right here. So he could very well have a slight opportunity at putting a move on Yannick before the end of this race. Boos and White looks to be more or less settled with where they are, as looks to be Equino. Watering as well has dropped further behind Equino, unfortunately for Watering, so 7th looks to be Watering's award this evening at the moment. Ibanez in 8th, Yakes up into 9th, and Chacon rounding out the top 10, but it looks like Saber is just about to overtake him there, and up into 10th Saber goes. So some decent recovery drives from a couple of drivers right here. Looks like Saber is pulling away there, so Saber looks to have a secured 10th right now. And Hackman now within nearly 5 seconds of Yannick, so let's actually jump on board with Hackman here and see how he is tackling this 2-mile D-shaped oval. This lap has been frantic so far, and now had to check up mid-corner and make sure to take a bit of a lower line to not slide up into Raul Reb's machine there. That means he gained no time that lap, so still 3 seconds behind, but 6 laps to work with. And if I'm not mistaken, that could very well, I think it's the car right in front of us here, that is the car Hackman is chasing. It is indeed. So let's now jump on board with Brian Yannick for a lap or two here and watch the spec in behind as another fastest lap for Adam Hackman is growing larger and larger. Wow, look at that closing speed. The battle is definitely on right now. Although I am a tiny bit unsure how much of a battle Ryan Yannick will be able to put up here as Hackman goes clean round outside of him right there. That must be quite the disheartening feeling to see that happen. So Adam Hackman up into second, and it looks like he will be going hell for leather until the end of the race to see if he can possibly force Fredriksson into any kind of tiny little mistake. As he sets another fastest lap. Wow. It looks like Fredriksson's laps aren't too far behind in terms of speed, so I think we have 2 more laps to go right here. And unless any kind of misfortune befalls Fredriksson right here, he is in a golden position and golden opportunity to take a win here in the 1978 USAC Championship. As he leaves a lot of safety room between himself and Luciano Roja right there. As we're entering the final lap of this 200-mile race. And while we may say that Fredriksson was fortunate that the race went as it did in the end, you have to say that he drove a brilliant race from his point of view and his position as he finishes the race and takes the win here in a Norton Twin 200. A absolutely brilliant display of racing, and Adam Hackman with a flourish of speed in the end of the race finishes second. And Brian Yannick picks up a 3rd place finish for Finley Vertis Enterprises. Both him and the team I think will be very, very happy with that. Johan Bors finishes 4th, which I think he won't be too unhappy with overall. Jason White will pick up 5th, so again, as I said earlier, good evening points-wise for the Penske organization as such. 3rd and 5th for their team cars and the Privateer Penske chassis in 4th. Alberto Quino finishes 6th, with August Watering in 7th. Alberto Ibanez finishes 8th, with David Yates in 9th. David Saber finishes 10th, with Bruno Chacon in 11th. Raoul Yareb in 12th. Alan Santo 13th. Mike Grems picks up 14th. Luciano Roja in 15th. Adrian May in 16th. Jason Fitch in 17th. Bouchard 18th. Della Cella 19th. Olson 20th. And the last of our runners. As unfortunately looks like Bouchard retired very, very late in the race, but will be classified in 18th. And our retirees were Schlapinski, Wattman, Riddall and Fernandez in this Norton Twin 200 race. We will take a very, very quick commercial break, and after these important messages we will hopefully have a driver interview or two, and we obviously have the trivia question and a quick reminder of what is coming up here at ISO over the next few weeks.
Cast iron where you need it for strength and accuracy. Hardened gears and ball bearing construction for long life and dependability. Heavy duty motors with power to spare. Rockwell builds tools that way for a reason. Because a power tool is only as good as the job it can do and just how long it can do it. Rockwell, your work can't afford anything less.
I got a great deal on this great Toyota Corolla.
You asked for it, you got it, Toyota.
Thanks, guys.
That's right. Get more than your money's worth right now. We're clearing out every 1978 Toyota in stock, including our lowest price Toyotas, each with a car full of standard features you don't have to pay extra for. What kind of a deal can you make? See your Toyota dealer and just ask.
I asked.
Just ask for it, you'll get it, Toyota.
Take any razor available in America. Now there's an electric shaver that will shave as close or your money back. The Remington XLR. Remington can guarantee a close shave because of our unique three-part system. The first head shaves close, the second closer. The exclusive intercept cutter is designed to shave longer hairs. The Remington XLR. It shaves as close as a blade or your money back. Available at your local Woolco store.
Think of the most professional-looking sound system you can imagine. Think of the ideal place to house it. You're thinking of one of JCPenney's remarkable new MCS series audio rack systems. Now, think of an incredible everyday saving of over $300 when you purchase any of these component systems as a package. JCPenney's MCS series audio rack systems. Think of the sound. Think of the service. Think of the savings. You won't have to think again.
You're never gonna believe the deal I made on this Toyota Corolla.
You asked for it, you got it, Toyota.
I got a great year-end deal on a tough Toyota truck.
You asked for it, you got it, Toyota.
It's the best time ever to buy a brand new 78 Toyota car or truck. You get your money's worth and more on every one. But act fast for better selection still at 78 prices.
Just ask for it, you get it, Toyota.
From the Sierras to the Smokies, people are discovering what makes the great outdoors great.
Beer makes it good.
There's just one Schlitz.
There's no debate.
Nothing else comes near.
Beer makes it good.
When you're out of Schlitz,
Schlitz makes it great.
you're out of beer.
11 million times a day, America reaches for a Schlitz. Every drop show-lagered for quality since 1849.
Schlitz makes it like no other could. Schlitz makes it great.
And we are back here at the Norton Twin 200 with a couple of our races, and I suppose most significantly we have our race winner Jacob Ferguson with us here. Congratulations, Jacob.
Yeah, thank you, but this is a bit awkward. I was not best car out there today. But a win is a win, and I'll take it if you let me have it like this. I think I have to explain from my point of view what happened during, well, when we went back to green after that yellow. So the yellow flag came out just when I was exiting the pits. I saw the pace car pull out, but I passed it because the yellow light was blinking, and as it says in the race description, if the yellow flag is blinking, you are okay to pass the pace car. So I did. I think it was Jason that stayed behind. There were no other cars coming in or out of the pits during the yellow. But then as we were going back to green, I noticed that it said that I was not supposed to stay behind Jason, but I should stay behind the pace car. So I thought, but it's not saying that I am in front of a car that I shouldn't be in front of. So I think, well, then I'm clear. Then I won't get a penalty. But it hit me when I got the message that you're accelerating too early. That maybe I was supposed to pass everyone, which I should not have been told, because I was around eighth place or so before my pit stop. So yeah, I think that was why so many got penalties they didn't deserve just after, just after that restart, because a lap later, well, everyone dived into the pits, and I was not one of them. Nevertheless, I'm happy with my driving. I used David Jake's setup from Texas that I did not use at Texas because I thought it was too much of a handful, but it worked very, very well here. The cars I fought against, I won over. So I'm happy with my driving. It's always a bit awkward when there are controversial races like this.
Yeah, I can understand that, and certainly looked like you had a very consistent race there, Jacob. And again, congratulations on the win. And obviously, looking forward here, we have next time out with these USAC cars, we're going to Mossport, the roller coaster ride that is Canada.
Finally, been waiting for this for since we started racing these kind of 70s cars 5 years ago or so. I want to be the favorite.
Any prospects for that race, like anticipations or what you expect to be able to do there?
I want to be the favorite, but I don't think I will be. It's probably my favorite track in any sim racing. I have not driven there since, I was on iRacing like 7 years ago. But this is going to be a highlight of the ISO season.
That sounds very, very promising, and I look forward to seeing you and everyone else test their mettle around that roller coaster ride. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
We also have, I think you have Bors finished ahead of Jason, so you have Bors another top 5 finish in 4th this time around. I take it you're pretty happy with that.
Well, I would have taken 4th before the race, but I led it. I led the first race, I led the second race, and I was one of those who got the stop and go, so I'm not entirely happy with it.
Understandable, but
I felt there was more in it. I'll put it that way. Although Alberto was quicker, and I think Adam too. So even if the race would have run normally, I doubt I'd won it. So anyway, 4th. It's something. More points.
Yeah, certainly very consistent and good points for the championship. So not all bad.
I think I've outscored everybody in front of me. Except, Hackman might take a few points back. But, could be worse.
Certainly so. And since I asked Jacob the same question, Mossport next time out with these cars, what do you think that roller coaster ride will be like?
I have no idea what to expect. We'll see. Can't tell much, really. I'll keep my explanations until I see a track and see how the car behaves.
Fair enough. Well, congratulations on another consistent top 5 finish, even if
Thank you.
You may feel you had a little bit more to give in the car. And I suppose then it would be somewhat likewise feeling here for Jason White, maybe, with a 5th place finish.
Yeah, I'm happy to finish in the top 5. I mean, I had a few incidents during the race that I can't really blame on anybody. Like in one instance, I just kind of was coming off the 4th turn, and Delacella's car was there. That's like the worst place you can be when you're lapping a car is exiting 4, because the inertia makes you want to go up the banking.
Mm-hmm.
And I just kind of slotted in behind him and wall rode for a little bit. Which damaged the car, but it's not his fault. It's just the nature of it. It's just the roll of the dice, really. I just happened to come upon him at that point, so no worries at all. But I'll refrain from commenting on the pace car scenario and the yellow situation, because I'm an admin, and I don't want to say something here that might like I'm not I mean, congratulations to Jakob. I think it's fair to say, if I say anything out of turn here, it might come back to bite me later. So
certainly. So
I'll just speak about just in general. I thought everybody was pretty good. People made a lot of room. Those people who were really kind of concerned about the high speeds and where they had to be when they were being lapped, for the most part, did an excellent job, which is good. I don't know how much, and racing in general was a bit less stressful. I don't know if that's down to just people being mature or the mod change that we did, maybe a little bit of both. But I want to give props, though. I will say to Jakob, kudos for acknowledging the circumstances of the win. I agree it's awkward, but I think we were. This is the way things go sometimes. Clearly, the server was not running at 100% this time around. So whether that played into the results, I have no idea. But I'm sure we'll have a look at it.
Certainly. Having talked about the race now, obviously we have your probably favorite moment in a few weeks' time in the Indy 500 time trials, but before that we have Mossport in Canada. Any prospects or anticipation of how that will go with these cars? First time ever we are taking the USAC cars to a road course.
Yeah, well, we did some testing at Mossport early on with the mod, and although we've made changes then, obviously, to the physics since then, it was a great deal of fun, and holding onto the cars in the corners is going to be a challenge. So I think it should be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it.
Sounds very promising indeed. So yeah, thank you very much to Jakob, Jason, and Juha for joining us for a little bit of a post-race interview here.
User left your channel.
Let's see. Yeah, let's take the trivia question and then have a quick look at what is coming up, and then we will cap off the broadcast, I think. So the trivia question for you this evening were: which driver won the IndyCar
User
portion
left your
of the
channel.
Norton Twin 200 on July 16th, 1978? Was it A, Rick Mears, B, AJ Foyt, or was it C, Johnny Rutherford? And as I've got no partner in crime in the broadcast booth, the answer to the trivia question is C, Johnny Rutherford. So big congratulations to Anders in the broadcast chat there, who guessed C. And Johnny Rutherford, despite racing, he wins a little bit of trophy and honor, I suppose one could say, here in the post-race action. So, just to remind you all what is coming up here at ISO in the next few weeks, we have Grand Prix La Batte du Canada, the Canadian Grand Prix from Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, which promises to be a very interesting race with both fuel and brakes being at a premium around that particular track, which will surely be something we will see affect the drivers across the distance of that particular race. And after that, 2 weeks from now, we have the Molson Diamond Indy, the race from Mosport. With the first time we're taking these USAC cars to a road course, which, as we've heard from our drivers today, and at least in my anticipation of it, the roller coaster ride at this Mosport will be a exhilarating and exciting event for everyone to partake in, I think. 3 weeks from now, we have the Detroit Grand Prix from the downtown Detroit circuit, a track that I know Jason White has spent a lot of time working on, and I'm sure he can't wait to get the chance to show that to everyone in its full grandeur. And that too, I think, will be a very interesting race in real life, a race where the Ligiers had a very, very strong showing, which I think will open up the opportunity for even more possible race winners in terms of teams, which will be very interesting to watch. And then we have the month of May and the Indianapolis 500 time trials, which, as always, will have live coverage and the customary, I suppose we could say by now, bumping, which Jason always gets very, very excited about. But that's pretty much all we have time for and opportunity to show you all tonight. So with that, thank you very much to everyone for tuning in. I hope you had a good Easter weekend and spare and free time. And I hope you're all happy that we are back here with some virtual action for you all to enjoy. But until next weekend for the Grand Prix Labatt to Canada, take care everyone and have a great week.